Hello and welcome to Her Sports Spotlight. I'm Ruby Joanne, and this is a series where I empower her game one story at a time. For this first episode, I'm so happy to say that I had the absolute pleasure of talking to Emily Drakeley, a co-founder and director for Her Game 2, as well as a board member for Birmingham City Football Club. Emily, as well as just being a generally lovely human being, does great work for the women's sporting community to tackle sexism and misogyny in sport.
Thank you. Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. I've had a quiet day. I think my biggest thing has just been the Euros qualifier draw.
Oh God, yeah, I can imagine that. They're always ones like that are the most hectic days ever. So
Yeah, but that's been it. That's been mine. Well, welcome to Her Sports Spotlight. Thanks for coming on. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
sure.
Um, first of all, for anyone who doesn't know, you are a co-founder and director at Her Game 2. Talk to me a bit about your role at Her Game 2. For anyone who doesn't know the organization, what you guys do.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Emily. I am one of the co-founders and directors of Her Game 2. So Her Game 2, we're a voluntary organisation dedicated to eradicating sexism within football, and promoting opportunities at all levels of the game, whether that be in the workspace or grassroots. My role is multifaceted. I support about 17 of the ambassadors, as I'm their direct report, so to speak. So I support them with their dedicated fixtures, any problems they have throughout the season, and just with general life things really as well. We've become a really good community, which is great. Um, I'm also obviously there for the rest of the team, but I've got my girls. Um, Also, I work on the marketing side of things. That is my day job, so it fits in quite well. Um, and I'm also a Birmingham City ambassador. So my team is Birmingham City. I've got another ambassador, Helena, who supports me. We work really well together. It's really good. And we've got a team below us. And then I also am a director for ice hockey. So we've got four divisions: football, rugby, cricket, and ice hockey. And it actually almost fell into my lap, ice hockey. The problems that are faced within that game are similar but different to football, and I'm learning a lot. And I've got a great team below me that are doing the actual physical work. So yeah, I sit at the top of the tree, but I've got a great team that do the groundwork.
Yeah, I mean, you must be so proud. Her Game 2 is such an incredible community. You guys do great work. I'm gonna list off a couple of your achievements for Her Game 2. Obviously, you guys were founded in 2021, which for an organization isn't that long ago, if you think about it, 3, 4 years. So the impact you've made in the community is massive. So when you first launched, you launched a video on the day of an FA Cup final, and within 24 hours, you got over 1 million views. It's insane. If you watch the video, I'll put a little insert of it. But it's such a powerful message because I think, if you were to talk to so many women about, sexism in sports, so many people wouldn't come forward and say that they were a victim of it. But watching that video, the message through it, actually, how many of us have had those things said to us, and you realize how big of a problem it is. So I think that was such a powerful, you guys literally hit the nail on the head with that. Um, by October, you had your first dedicated fixture. November, you had your first WSL partnership with the club. And then December, you had your first Premier League partnership with the club. I mean, how important for her game too are things like those dedicated fixtures and having clubs backing, and the club's involvement with the cause.
For me, having club involvement is absolutely paramount to our message. Clubs reach, and football and sport in general reaches people on a different level. It's an emotional connection. Some people can, quantify it to almost be a religion to them.
Mm.
So to have someone's club back our message, it doesn't just reach the fans, but it reaches the wider network in that community. And for me, that's really important, is reaching those people that wouldn't necessarily have the experience or have the understanding, but also going out there and representing people that don't feel like they have a place in football. And I think when we started the campaign, we didn't have anyone to turn to. We didn't feel like there was an organisation out there for us, or we weren't elite enough to fit in anywhere. We didn't work in the game. We were just fans.
Yeah.
We didn't see us as anything special. We're just normal people. Um, and dedicated fixtures are sort of the pinnacle. They're the birthday party, so to speak, of your year. Um, and for me, it's where all the hard work that everyone in this campaign puts in comes to a head, and we get to celebrate women in a really, really exciting way. For example, we've had Brentford, and they've been on Sky Sports, and that's reached a completely new audience. Um, and then we've had my club, Birmingham City, and people like the photographer Richard. He's said that he'll get some great photos for us because he's bought into the messaging and he understands how important it is. But for me, the next step, and we are getting there, and apologies if my little kitten runs in the way of the camera. She's a very big
Yeah,
Her Game 2 fan. um
of course.
it's about getting the players involved as well, because people idolize footballers. They see them as their gods, and if we can get them to represent what we're saying, then it's a really, really important message that we can get out there.
Yeah, I mean, talking of Birmingham City, you've had one of your players for the women's team recently. Remy Allen has just announced her departure of the club, but at the same time, she's also just joined London City Lionesses as their manager, as
Yeah,
their head coach. I mean, there's been loads of conversation about it recently. Emma Hayes leaving Chelsea at the end of this season to go to the USA. How important are things like representation in the women's game? It's been talked about the lack of kind of female managers, female coaches. That's so important. How important is, things like Remy Allen going to be from player to manager in the women's game, in the progression of the game?
I think it's really exciting. um it's something that it is beginning to be groundbreaking, really. I think in women's football, I never had a team I could go play with, and I can only really talk about my own experience. I can share other people's, but I never had that experience of being able to play. So I didn't even know that that was an opportunity. I didn't know that
Mhm.
being a footballer as a woman could have been my career path. It wouldn't have been. My hand-eye coordination is not very good. Um, but I didn't have the opportunity. Whereas there are some people that are women's footballers now, which is amazing, and they have now got that path where they can become managers. They don't have to go off and do a stereotypical normal career. They can carry on in the game that they love, and that's just amazing. And hopefully, we'll be able to see people progress. Like there's amazing women like Hope Powell, who's director of football at Birmingham City Women's, and we've got people now that are going through the ranks and they're progressing in their careers and they're entering male dominated areas and actually proving that women can do the job just as well.
I mean, I was at up at the Emirates a couple of weeks ago for the Arsenal United game, and I was seeing the Her Game 2 logo everywhere. People were wearing it, and it was so nice to see because I think, visibility is such an important thing. There's that quote of you can't be what you can't see, which is why it's so important to have, female managers, female reporters in every role. So, girls growing up know that they can be that and that that's a chance for them. And obviously talking about Birmingham women, the championship, I think it's the one of the most like underrated leagues. I don't get how more people don't watch it. What are your predictions for this season? Birmingham is sitting fifth currently, but you're not that far off the top in points.
I
So
know. Oh, I really last season was painful for me because I was watching the last game of the season, and if Bristol had messed up, we would have and we'd won, we would have gone up, and it was just painful. So I'm really hoping for not a repeat performance this year. Um, but I don't know. I want to say we're going to do it. No, I'm going to say it. We're going to do it, and we're going to go up, and it's going to be great.
that's the hope. Exactly. You've got it. You've got to back your own team. And in terms of social media, it's such a big part, everyday life, everyone, we're on it constantly. In terms of women's football, from a marketing perspective, obviously, you said that you do a lot of that Her Game too. How much does social media play into the campaign? How does that kind of help you guys or hinder you guys if you look at it from that other way?
Yeah, it's absolutely massive. We wouldn't be where we are today without social media. And we're able to reach that community and have conversations that we previously wouldn't have been able to have, reach different people from all different backgrounds. Everyone, or nearly everyone, has access to some form of social media. So being able to go out there and have those conversations and try and break those barriers. But also it highlights areas where actually things need to change. So we do still get certain comments, and we have to understand that actually things aren't correct, and that's an area where we need to focus. So sometimes it can hinder us. Look, we're all human, we all make mistakes. We need to break down those barriers and make sure that we are ensuring that we can put things in place that make things safe for everyone. And social media, it's a tricky place. So
Yeah, what would you say to those girls and women out there? Because I feel like a lot of the time when we talk about, the progression of women's sport and the women's game, a lot of it is aimed at, obviously the younger generations, which is so important. Obviously, they are our future. But I also think there's a total, sometimes it gets missed of, older women and teenagers and, that in the middle age group. It's not too late for people to get into women's sport just because you don't necessarily have a chance of becoming a professional footballer, but you can still get involved. What would you say to those people who are hearing comments like people of, I don't even want to give his name airtime, but
mhm.
like Jerry Barton and those people on social media?
I think it's such a ingrained belief in society that there's still stereotypical gender roles,
Mm.
and that's changing, and it has changed. Um, I think it's crucial that we still continue to challenge that, and we get to a point where everyone's able to do within reason, as they please. And going forward, I'd really like to be able to see more women of all ages get involved in the game. There's so many things that can be done. Most football clubs have community trusts, and whether it be volunteering to support with that or getting involved with fundraisers, there's so many different ways that we can support and help our own football clubs and our own communities, regardless of age. And that's something that I found. I've never worked in the footballing industry. I've not been lucky enough to have that as my career path, but I've been really lucky to have that as my uh, outside of work career, so to speak.
Yeah.
Um, and I'd love to have more women of all ages involved in the campaign as well. And that's something that, I mean, I speak to a lot of people from different ages within my own fan base, and being able to represent them, I think, is crucial because our experiences are different, our lived experiences are different, our outlooks are different. And we need women to come forward of all ages, because otherwise we're not going to be able to, we're only going to be able to support women of a certain demographic. And realistically, we want to cater for all women, regardless of who you are, what you look like, what you identify as. If you are part of us, we want to be part of you.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, on that note, I think it's such a good note to kind of wrap this up on. But if people are watching this and they want to get involved with Her Game too in any of the sports that you guys cover, how are they going to go about that?
So you can either go to our website, which is www.hergame2.co.uk, and we do have a get involved form. We look for people of all different walks of life, whether you're a writer, a blogger, like you love social media, or whether you want to get involved actively as an ambassador or advocate, or whether you work in the industry and just want to share your expertise with us, because we're experts in completely different fields to each other, which is really great. We want to build that community. So get involved via our website or reach out to any one of us on social media. We're always all in contact. I can guarantee I'll have about 300 messages on my phone as we speak. But yeah, we would love, and men as well. I think that's the big thing, is we don't just want women involved in the campaign. We want everyone involved in the campaign, because we can only give our own perceived experiences, and we want everyone to feel involved.
Yeah, well, perfect. Her Game too does so much great work. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for talking. And you're the official first guest on the
Yay!
series. So it's perfect. And it's International Women's Week, which, do you know what, I'm going to take credit for and say that I knew that and this was all planned. Um, but thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank